This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks all around the world. But here now the news for August 16th, 2024. As usual, I say here now is the news, but we're not going to get to the news just yet. We have to mention there was applause there. Why was there applause there? Because we have our first live studio audience for News Today. Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. If you want to be part of our live studio audience, head on over to events.wdwnt.com. Tickets are available for select dates now, and if it goes well, maybe we'll do all dates, but we'll see how it goes. So be on your best behavior. Everyone at home's counting on all of you. So, all right, let's get started. We have a nice light story to start things off. Disney has released a new statement following their recent reports of seeking to dismiss a wrongful death lawsuit regarding a woman who passed away due to anaphylaxis after a meal at Disney Springs. Per the Hollywood Reporter, Disney stated late Wednesday night that it is deeply saddened by the loss of Tang Swan, who was a doctor at NYU, but stressed that Raglan Road Irish Pub is neither owned nor operated by the Walt Disney Company. Raglan Road is where Tang Swan had the meal that ultimately caused the allergic reaction. Her husband, Jeffrey Piccolo, is the plaintiff in the wrongful death lawsuit on behalf of Tang Swan and her estate. Disney said, "We are merely defending ourselves against the plaintiff's attorney's attempt to include us in the lawsuit against the restaurant." Disney, in an emailed statement to the Hollywood Reporter, said that Raglan Road did not respond to the Hollywood Reporter in their email request for comment. Great Irish Pubs Florida Incorporated is also included in the wrongful death lawsuit, though it's worth noting. This news follows reports of Disney seeking to dismiss the wrongful death lawsuit based on an arbitration waiver included in the terms and conditions for Disney Plus, as well as purchasing Walt Disney World tickets through the My Disney Experience app. Disney claims Piccolo reportedly agreed to the Disney Plus terms in 2019 when he signed up for a 1-month free trial of the streaming service on his PlayStation console, and in September of 2023 when he used the My Disney Experience app to purchase tickets to visit Epcot. Tang Swan passed away before she and Piccolo could visit the park. I'm going to stop and talk about this for a second. I know some people were really angry at the last episode. I probably messed up and forgot to mention the most important thing in all this. I thought I said it, but I didn't. Disney is not liable here because, again, Raglan Road is owned and operated by a different company. So, yeah, Disney leases them the restaurant space, but obviously they are not operating the space. So Disney is looking to get out of this. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crappy that what they've listed, right? You bought a ticket or the Disney Plus free trial, but lawyer's gonna lawyer, right? I mean, that's part of life in this country. Obviously, it's a very sad thing and terrible, and you know, no one with an allergy should have to go to Disney and worry. And I think those of you with allergies who visit Disney World, I'm sure there's some of you watching, I think will, for the most part, say, you know, I've been told by people that Disney World, Disneyland, or Disney parks around the world, for the most part, are probably the most accommodating places just about you can visit with an allergy. So it's devastating that this has happened, and that, you know, it's got, obviously, if you have an allergy, even if you trust Disney, I assume it's going to be in the back of your mind because it happened. And it happened in our happy place. So, you know, I understand that. But obviously it's a horrible tragedy. Obviously it should be avoided. But, you know, again, lawyer's gonna lawyer, right? And, you know, it's not the nicest story to read, but it's not surprising. Peter Pan's flight reopened today, August 16th, of the Magic Kingdom with a new scene. They updated the Neverland Tribe scene. It's been changed entirely. It was previously scheduled to reopen on August 21st. The ride's been closed since July 8th. The new scene depicts Tiger Lily walking, or should I say, dancing in a circle with another older member of her tribe. A trio of tribe members sit around a large drum to her right, and instead of 2 teepees behind them, there are now 3, with designs featuring a turtle, the second star to the right, where of course Neverland is, and a paw print. Tiger Lily and the older woman are on a turntable moving around in a circle. The previous Neverland Tribe scene featured Tiger Lily and fellow members of her tribe sitting around their campfire, with the chief having his arms crossed as other members play drums around them. The teepees at the load area of the attraction as well were repainted to match those later in the ride. That's a nice touch. It was previously rumored the attraction would eventually receive these cultural sensitivity updates. We've been waiting a very long time since essentially Disney tipped their hand that they were going to do this. You may remember in 2022, they changed the backdrop to the meet and greet at Magic Kingdom to remove to change Indian Camp to Neverland Tribe. Let's weigh in on this a little bit. I've seen some comments. People are upset. My favorite comment, though, someone said they're trying to erase American history. I just want to comment on something. To my knowledge, the Peter Pan film takes place in London and in Neverland, which I believe is a fictional place beyond the stars. So it's okay to laugh. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. So that is true. But at the same time, like, we have not erased the fact that Native Americans were, or I don't even know that you call them Native Americans, because Neverland's not a real place. I have no idea how this works. I don't know. In the story, are they transplanted from America? I have no idea. But either way, like, we have not erased their inclusion in the film, which we saw this in Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure for Disney Sea. They included a scene with the natives dancing and with Tiger Lily jumping on the drum, and everyone seemed okay with that. And so what I will say here is I think it's nice that we're not erasing the fact that natives live in Neverland, and that was a big part of the movie. We've maybe done that in a way that hopefully will not be offensive to people. And also, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's really pretty. Like, the figures are gorgeous. Tiger Lily looks fantastic. This is done at a very high quality. The fact that not only, like, they added to the scene, like, they rebuilt the whole scene. They're like, oh, we'll build 3 teepees. It matches the load area. And then, oh, we should go paint the ones in the load area. That's the Disney difference, right? That's the attention to detail that we love. And so this is a really tasteful update. I think the scene looks gorgeous. They're beautiful figures. It matches the ride that has been there for over 50 years now. So I think it's something for everybody, right? And someone said in the comments, I think it was on X, somebody said, this is much better than what they did to Pirates. And I agree, right? I think for me being upset about Pirates of the Caribbean changes wasn't that Pirates of the Caribbean was being changed. It's that the scene that they put into Pirates was just so far inferior to what it replaced. Like, it just wasn't as charming and witty, and it just wasn't as good. It just doesn't resonate with people. As opposed to this, where obviously, you know, it's not as culturally impactful as the redhead scene on Pirates. There's no arguing of that. But what we were given in quality is at least equal to, if not greater than, what was there. And also, we didn't erase what was there. We still embraced the fact that this is the home to the native village in Neverland. It's still there. It's just there in a different form, and in a form that money was clearly spent on. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments how you feel. But I think there's a right way and a wrong way to execute these updates, and I think the Neverland update feels like the right way. And as opposed to Pirates, where I think we're still 5 or 10 years away from someone going in and being like, you know, we didn't really achieve what we set out for when we did those updates. Maybe we should try again. So, yeah. The mac and cheese, what a transition. The mac and cheese hand pie. Oh, boy, who's hungry? The mac and cheese hand pie is now available to guests at Magic Kingdom. It's available at the Friar's Nook. Who could forget that scene in Robin Hood where Friar Tuck makes a nice mac and cheese hand pie for everybody and gives it out to the poor. They take the mac and cheese hand pies from the rich and give them to the poor. Anyway, the mac and cheese hand pie is $8.99. Our review is available at WWNT.com. Walt Disney World has revealed a look at the new merchandise collection that'll be available at this year's Jollywood Nights. Anyone going to Jollywood Nights this year? No? Okay. All right, fine. With items featuring the event's gingerbread man mascot, Ollie. The spirit jersey shown is maroon and features an all-over pattern with Ollie in his Jollywood attire. And on the left breast, a graphic reads, Happy Ollie Days 2024. The event logo can be found printed across the shoulders and the back of the spirit jersey. An event t-shirt will also be available featuring Ollie hanging off the side of the Sunset Boulevard street sign. Don't do that, they'll make you come down. Don't do that if you go to the park. Also new for this year is the Ollie ear headband, which features Ollie as a plush for both ears. Satin gold bow ties sit underneath his head with the Happy Ollie Days 2024 graphic and the Jollywood Nights wordmark serving as the bow. 2024 will be written on the side of the headband. Meanwhile, there's a lug bag that'll be event exclusive as well. It's an Ollie lug crossbody. The bag is blue with gold embroidery and an Ollie patch on the front, small pocket. A 2024 event pin will also be available. You may remember they didn't even have a pin last year. I think it was just a t-shirt. But that'll feature Ollie as well, waving from inside of a holiday card. And a blue retro-style diner mug featuring Ollie and Happy Ollie Days 2024 will also be up for grabs. And for those who want to add a bit of Jollywood cheer to their Christmas tree, an event ornament will be available as well. The ornament is shaped like a frame and features art of Ollie on Sunset Boulevard with the Hollywood Tower Hotel in the background. All of this merchandise will be available for purchase in the Stage 1 company store during the event. These items are exclusive to party guests. Of course, Ollie was created by Disney Live Entertainment and introduced for the first ever season of Jollywood Nights last year. Did anyone go last year? Okay, so this just isn't a crowd that comes during the holiday season. Okay. His design is inspired by the look of mid-century holiday cards from the 40s and 50s. Disney Jollywood Nights will occur on select nights from November 9th through December 21st this year at Hollywood Studios. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guest Vacations. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guest and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to beourguestvacations.com/WDWNT, and their team will design your next magical vacation from the Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resorts to the Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, and more. They're also able to book unforgettable VIP tours where you and your group can experience the ultimate park day. And the best part is their concierge services are 100% free. Oh, you guys watch news tonight. That's good. So book with them today. Make it their problem, as I always say. I don't book cruises myself because booking with Disney Cruise Line is a nightmare. So make it Be Our Guests' problem. After initial tests with cast members at Epcot in February, Walt Disney World is once again testing the X-ray machines with guests. They were on this Wednesday, August 14th at Animal Kingdom. This is the first time we've noticed the new equipment being tested with guests. The machines are likely not ready to be fully implemented, though. When we entered Animal Kingdom on Wednesday, the X-ray machine was not in use. We were instructed to zip up and remove our bags for scanning when we returned to the park in the afternoon. Cast members took our bag and dropped it through the machine, saying what color shirt we had on, maybe to match the bag with its owner. We then still walked through the contactless scanner, as you do these days. We did so holding a cup. They didn't ask for the cup to go through the X-ray machine. Every person with a bag that didn't also have a wheelchair or stroller had to put their bag through the X-ray machine. When we left and returned to the park later in the day, the machines were no longer in use, confirming this was just a limited test to see how this would go with guests. As you know, the contactless scanners were first tested and installed in 2020, replacing metal detectors. Since then, most guests have been able to walk through a single machine without removing their bags. The scanner, of course, flags guests for further screening if deemed necessary, and then you will go to a cast member who would look through your bag by hand. This would obviously be an attempt to handle guests' bags less, right? So I think the idea here would be you go through the contactless scanner. If something goes off, you go to that table. The cast member will then, instead of putting it on the table and going through it, they'll put it through the X-ray machine. And then maybe in that case, no one has to touch your belongings. We know there have been a number of incidents with guests' belongings being touched. I've heard horror stories and weird things. You never know what's going to happen. I know last year we reported an incident where there was a fight, like a guest fought security over them looking in the bag. So I think this is probably for the best. My personal favorite, Disneyland Paris has third-party security, which is not my favorite concept, but everyone just drops their bag through a metal detector or through an X-ray machine, and it comes out the other side, and it just seems super easy. And it seems to go really fast, and for me, that's the best process. I like that a lot. Tokyo does a similar thing to us where you go through the contactless scanner, and then if they deem you need further screening, you get in another line. And then the other line, not only do they go through your bag, but then you go through a metal detector. It's really convoluted, like most things at Tokyo Disney. It's a little convoluted. But this I think is an improvement. It's still not, I think, a perfected system, but I think it would be better than what we're doing now, probably, where someone rips your bag apart. If we can avoid that, it's probably for the best. Disney's All-Star Music Resort has a new mural on the lobby wall outside of Intermission Food Court and Maestro Mickey's. The mural replaces photos of musicians from over the years, which made up the All-Star Music Hall of Fame, which is probably the least important Hall of Fame in the music industry. The The wall is the same aqua color as before. New is a yellow wave moving across the center behind silhouettes of various characters playing musical instruments. The characters include Minnie on the drums and Donald with a gong. The character silhouettes are in the same aqua color or darker green, creating depth to the mural. And above the orchestra are music stanzas with white lines and red notes. The notes create the sheet music for the Mickey Mouse March, the classic theme of the Mickey Mouse Club. Of course, you may also remember in the opening sequence in the Mickey Mouse Club, those of you who are old like me may remember that Donald strikes the gong and Minnie's on the drum. It's somewhat accurate to the opening of that classic television show. According to cast members, work began on the mural about 3 days before it was completed. It was finished Tuesday night, and while many of the characters are recognizable, others are deeper cuts. Some are inspired by background characters from Disney short films. A sign indicates the lobby mural is under refurbishment, but it appears to be complete and dry as of when we visited. Appropriately, Maestro Mickey himself is pictured on a podium with a conductor's wand next to the entrance to the Maestro Mickey store. We also checked in on Disney's All-Star Movies and Sports Resorts, and it looks like at least Movies will be getting a new mural. The resort had similar refurbishment signs in the lobby, and the photos of the All-Star Movies Hall of Fame have been removed as well, leaving faded squares on the blue wall where they used to be. There's no changes at All-Star Sports as of yet, where they still feature those giant photos of sports figures. I think Disney just got tired of updating those. A couple years ago, I know in music they put Taylor Swift up, and there was a couple other changes. But I think someone was like, you know, this is a silly thing to keep updating. Why don't we just paint a really nice mural on these walls? And I don't think anyone will truly miss the whole. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone has some emotional connection to those giant photos of celebrities, but I think it's a change that makes some sort of sense. The new Walt Disney, let's cause more controversy today, shall we? The new Walt Disney Audio-Animatronic coming to Disneyland Resort next year, it has been announced, will use archival recordings of Walt. Fortune revealed that in an article about the Disney Experiences D23 announcements. Disney Experiences chairman Josh D'Amaro announced during the Horizons Disney Experience Showcase that Walt will come to life as part of the new show, Walt Disney: A Magical Life. It will debut in the Main Street Opera House next year for the 70th anniversary of Disneyland. Fortune saw a prototype of the life-size figure being constructed and tested in a, quote, boxy, heavily secured warehouse building in Glendale, California, behind an unassuming black curtain. The figure wears one of Walt's favorite ties and his old shoes. It's leaning on a desk in a replica of his old office, as seen in the concept art, and will stand to tell a story to guests. A special light is pointed at the figure's face to create a twinkle in his eye, and every hair has been individually placed on his head. Tom Fitzgerald, senior creative executive at Walt Disney Imagineering, told Fortune, "This has been a labor of love. It's a new world for us, new challenges. But as Walt would say, it's kind of fun to do the impossible." Fitzgerald's team is using new audio-animatronic technology to animate Walt's hands and fingers, as well as to make his skin look maximally lifelike. Walt, who passed away in 1966, will tell his life story in his own words via archived audio recordings. In a press release from the Walt Disney Company, Fitzgerald said they worked closely with the Walt Disney Archives to get the details correct and make this their most lifelike human figure ever made. "We scoured through his speeches and documents to find the words that would bring him to life in a way that would feel as if we dropped into his office for a chat. Our hope is that the end result will give guests the best sense of Walt and his engaging and warm personality. So much of Walt's philosophy is timeless and as valid today as it was in his lifetime. We wanted the show and story to appeal to all ages, and while some of our younger audience may not know as much about Walt Disney, we felt his story could be inspirational to them. Follow your dreams, turn setbacks into success, never give up, and give the world your very best." Quote, "Creating our first Walt figure is an idea that's been whispered in the hallowed halls of Imagineering for years, decades even," said D'Amaro. "We just had to wait for innovation to catch up with our dreams, and we're finally ready." Fortune spoke to D'Amaro before D23 at his office in Burbank, where he has a sketch of Cinderella Castle on one wall and 5 black and white photos of Walt Disney on another. "I look past my computer to those photographs every day," D'Amaro told Fortune, "to remember the responsibility that I have." After its initial run, Walt Disney: A Magical Life will rotate with great moments with Mr. Lincoln. The latter show debuted at the 1964 World's Fair and features audio-animatronic of President Abraham Lincoln, another person who actually lived, by the way. It was one of the first ever created by Walt Disney and his Imagineers. You know, what's funny is I made some assumptions last show. One of them was they would use archival audio. because that just seemed like the right thing, right? No one wants to put words in Walt Disney's mouth. And I'm very happy to hear that that's the truth of the situation. I'm really excited to see, they're going to project a twinkle into his eye. That's wild. Like, I have got to see this thing. I can't wait to see it. Again, you know, if Walt didn't want an animatronic of himself, he probably didn't want to film about his life in the park either, but they did that in 1972. So, you know, I don't know that the members of Abraham Lincoln's family signed off on the World's Fair. So, you know, I get those are Walt's wishes, and I get there's some members of the family that don't want it. But as a Disney fan, I'm glad to hear them echo what I felt, which is I think there are very young guests. You know, I'm still, you know, I was born in 1988. I am removed from Walt Disney as well. I mean, he was gone many years before I was born. And so my connection was through the people that worked with him that lived on past 1988. But as I said on the last show, someone was offended by this. I don't know how, because this is just how life works. Yeah, the people he worked with are you know, they're not going to live forever. And there's very few left at this point. I don't know who I'm breaking this to. We're all going to die at some point. I hope you understand that. And it's sad, but it's going to happen. And so that's why it's so important to preserve the stories of these people, right? And I'm glad between the company and our events and things other people have done that we, you know, preserve the stories and the history of the company. But, you know, Bob Gurr and the last remaining people that worked with Walt Disney eventually, you know, I don't put it past Bob Gurr to live to 120, man. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Bob. But eventually, someday, everyone that worked with Walt Disney will no longer be on this planet with us. And so it will be important in some way, shape, or form to relay the importance of this man to a future generation. And we can argue, would he have wanted it? Wouldn't he have wanted it? But I think we all, you know, we all believe in the importance of that man's life and legacy, or we wouldn't be sitting, I wouldn't be sitting here and you wouldn't be watching this show if you didn't. So there's obviously an importance to keeping his memory alive and letting people know he was a real person and what he accomplished and what he did. And I know for me, as a young person, I remember the first time I saw One Man's Dream at Hollywood Studios. And the fact, it blew my, like I knew a lot about Walt because I, you know, something crazy kids, we used to read books. I remember getting books about the history of Disney World or about his life and reading that and being blown away. But I you know, in those shorter books, there wasn't a lot of mention of his failures, right? And I think the line that's always stuck with me is, he said, I think it's important to have a good hard failure when you're young. And that stuck with me my whole life because in owning a company, you absolutely have those moments. And to know that Walt Disney had those moments, I think is inspirational to a lot of people. And so what they just said is absolutely true. There is no denying that his story will continue to inspire people, whether they are the radio generation, the TV generation, or the TikTok generation. It doesn't matter. The message is timeless regardless. So thank you. It's nice. It's nice. Until I get booed, this will be nice. Until then. But yeah, let us know in the comments how you feel. Oh, you're going to love the next story. This is exciting stuff. Refurbishment details. Who's excited? Multiple Disneyland refurbishment start and end dates have been announced, including a new Jungle Cruise closure. Say that 5 times fast. The park will be much easier to navigate as the path between New Orleans Square and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge will reopen on August 19th. On the same day, the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes will reopen. And while the entire restaurant won't reopen on that date, guests will be able to use the restrooms on the lower level of the Hungry Bear restaurant. These areas, as well as Critter Country, have been closed while construction continues on Tiana's Bayou Adventure and the Haunted Mansion Queue and Gift Shop. At D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event, we learned that Tiana's Bayou Adventure will open on November 15th, and when Critter Country reopens, it will now instead be known as Bayou Country, because everyone knows Winnie the Pooh lived in the bayou. It was also announced that the Jungle Cruise will be closing for a standard refurbishment on September 16th. And because the attraction calendar only runs through late September, we don't have an exact reopening date just yet. But they said, Disney said they expect the attraction to be closed for about 3 weeks. Two different closures have been announced for It's a Small World at Disneyland Park. First, the attraction will close on September 16th as it transitions to It's a Small World Holiday, which will open on November 15th. During those 2 months, the ride will also undergo some needed general maintenance. It's a Small World Holiday will then close on January 21st, and It's a Small World is expected to remain closed for a few additional months as it receives more general and ride maintenance. The ride is expected to reopen in the spring of 2025. No exact date just yet. As well, a reopening date for Space Mountain at Disneyland has been revealed by the Disneyland Resort calendar. It lists Space Mountain as closed for refurbishment through September 5th. The attraction is off of that calendar on September 6th, so we think it'll reopen that day. The Disneyland calendar is unpredictable, folks, so stay tuned. We'll let you know. But Space Mountain has been closed since August 5th, making that a month-long refurb. New The Nightmare Before Christmas options for the popular custom character plush headbands are coming soon to Disneyland Resort. Plush attachments of Zero, Jack Skellington, and Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas will be available for the custom character plush headband starting on August 23rd. I do think it's weird. Jack and Sally just get their heads, but Zero got his whole body? That seems unfair. These headbands and the new Nightmare Before Christmas options will be available for purchase at the Mad Hatter on Main Street, USA at Disneyland, and Bing Bong Sweet Stuff at Disney California Adventure. There will be a purchase limit of 5 per item per guest while supplies last. So I'm sorry, if you wanted 6 Jack Skellingtons on your headband, you'll have to go back another day. Of course, these are originally from Hong Kong Disneyland, where guests can mix and match their favorite Disney characters as plush heads that could be attached to the base headband. The plush character heads are interchangeable, so you can collect them all. Or I've seen people, again, I did the joke about the 5 across. I've seen people buy 3 to 5 of the same character and just lay them across the headband. And all I can think is, that's really expensive. But whatever. I mean, sometimes it's cute. I like when the little green men, I think, makes sense. But other characters available: Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, Chip, Dale, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Stitch, Buzz Lightyear, the Little Green Aliens, lots of Hug and Bear are all available. At Disneyland Resort, that base headband is $9.99. Each head is $11.99. Disneyland has revealed new details for the updated Plaza de la Familia Coco show at California Adventure, as well as its opening date. The former show, a musical celebration of Coco, will now become The Storytellers of Plaza de la Familia Celebrate the Musical World of Coco. Yes, that's the whole name, that very long thing. The show will feature music from the Academy Award-winning film, including Remember Me, The World Es Mi Familia, and the Mexican folk song La Llorona, as well as more. New concept art was also released. You're looking at that now. The updated show will be performed several times daily at Paradise Gardens in California Adventure starting August 30th. Between performances, guests will be able to take photos with the hand-animated dimensional figure of Miguel, and the Arbol de la Vida, the Tree of Life, and the Memory Wall will also return. At the latter, guests can write and post personal messages to loved ones. There will also be paper alebrije masks that you can make featuring Dante and Pepita, spirit guides from Coco. Plaza de la Familia will also see a full lineup of food and beverage offerings inspired by the traditions of Dia de los Muertos. Disneyland also announced that a new merchandise collection celebrating Coco with apparel, accessories, drinkware, and more will be available in early September. Items will be sold at the World of Disney in the Downtown Disney District and Elias & Company at DCA while supplies last. Architecture, Engineering, Construction, Operations, and Management, or AECOM, thankfully they have an acronym, and the Themed Entertainment Association, or TIA, have published their 2023 Theme Index and Attendance Report that covers attendance for attractions around the world. While the attendance report is coming out in 2024, these reports reflect 2023. According to the report, European parks overall performed well in 2023, while American theme parks saw more modest growth. Asian parks experienced year-over-year rebounds after being the most affected by pandemic restrictions. Disney holds 11 of the top 25 spots in the world, with Magic Kingdom coming in at number 1 once again. Tokyo Disneyland went from number 3 to number 4. I guess I didn't go enough. And Tokyo Disney Sea fell from number 4 to number 7 since last year's report. Shanghai Disneyland moved up to the top 5, reaching spot 5 from spot 10 in the report for 2022. Epcot also dropped from 7 to 8, and Hollywood Studios from 9 to 10. Both Disneyland Paris and California Adventure climbed up a few spots in the worldwide ranking from 14 to 9 and 13 to 11, respectively. Animal Kingdom dropped from 6 to 16, while Hong Kong Disneyland moved up from 21 to 17. Good for them. Walt Disney Studios Park in Paris also saw a bump from 23 to 20 in this year's report. Disney's hold on the top 5 theme parks in North America loosened this year, now only claiming 4 of the 5. Magic Kingdom remains number 1 following last year's report, seeing a 3.4% increase in attendance with approximately 17,720,000 guests last year. Disneyland Park in Anaheim is number 2 with an attendance increase of 2.2% to 17,250,000 guests. Epcot moved up from 4 to 3 in 2023's report with a nearly 20% attendance increase and approximately almost 12 million guests. Disney's Hollywood Studios takes number 4 and the final spot by Disney in this year's top 5. The park saw a decrease of 5.5% in attendance, down to about 10 million guests. Meanwhile, DCA and Animal Kingdom still made it in the top 10 at number 6 and number 9. The former moved up 2 spots from 2022, while the latter dropped again 6 spots. Typhoon Lagoon retains its top spot for 2023 among the top water parks in North America with an approximate attendance of 1.8, almost 1.9 million guests, and a decrease of nearly 1% from 2022. Blizzard Beach fell, however, out of the top 20 for 2023. It held the number 2 spot in 2022. Likely due to both water parks operating seasonally, with only one open at a time. Tokyo Disneyland was dethroned as number 1 this year by Universal Studios Japan, though the park saw nearly a 26% attendance increase to over 15 million guests. Meanwhile, Tokyo Disney Sea fell from number 2 to number 5, but saw a similar increase to its sister park at 22.8%. I'm going to break down the Japan thing for a minute if I can. Universal Studios Japan is bursting at the seams. If you've been there, it's not a great park experience because there's way too many people. It's really, every time I talk to people, they're like, oh, we had a miserable time. We stayed for 2 hours and then it got unreasonable. We couldn't stay. So USJ has no attendance restrictions, and they've sold as many annual passes as they can, and it doesn't lead to a great guest experience, but their attendance is definitely up for it. Meanwhile, at Tokyo Disney, we are still on one-day tickets. There are no annual passes, there are no multi-day tickets, and I think we're starting to see the local audience, at least, begin to revolt against that a bit. I would not be surprised if weekday annual passes or something of the sort are introduced, because I will tell you, in my time there this summer, at times it was a ghost town. Like, the place was empty, and I will tell you, at least for the Americans I knew that were visiting, it was amazing because they got to go to Disney Sea or Disneyland with no people in it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, this can't be good for business. So hopefully Tokyo Disney will come around, at least start selling multi-day tickets for people, or reintroduce some annual passes that let people in when the crowds are going to be low. Meanwhile, Disney has 1 European resort with 2 parks and retains the top spot this year for all of Europe with Disneyland Park at Disneyland Paris. It reported a 4.7% attendance increase to 10.4 million guests. Walt Disney Studios Park, which will soon be renamed to Disney Adventure World, what a name, bumped up from number 4 to number 3 with a 6.7% increase. The full report for 2023 is available online, so if you're curious about other parks, you can go read about it. Also on Universal Parks News today, we'll talk about the Universal parks more. But yeah, there's more I could break down, but it's interesting. What I like is it's clear that Disney is aware of these attendance things, and what you're seeing is there's going to be an investment. Obviously, Magic Kingdom's already the busiest park in the world, so increasing capacity just seems like a necessity. But with Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom kind of on the decline, it's nice that we're seeing, and people are like, oh, why aren't they doing more at Epcot right now? The sad story is they don't have to. Like, yeah, I'd like Figment to be fixed, and yeah, I'd like something in the Wonders of Life Pavilion, but at the same time, the numbers don't lie, right? Animal Kingdom clearly has gotten a little stale for people. It's been a long time since we've gotten something. What was the last new thing in Animal Kingdom? Was it Kite Tails? We know how that went. Is that the last big new thing? I don't even remember, but it's been a while. So Tropical Americas and the stopgap of that Zootopia show, even though I hate it, the stopgap of the Zootopia show, probably a good thing for them. And Hollywood Studios, I think, Monsters, Inc. is still several years away, but clearly something needs to happen. Same with the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run update. Still a bit away, but clearly very needed to give people a reason to go back to those parks. For the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. I actually got an email from someone and they asked what the W in WIGS was for. It's for WDWNT. It's WDWNT Interglobe Society. Just want to put, do we have any WIGS members here today? We got a call. All right, thank you. Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, like for the live audience here at News Today, and more. Special shout out to all of our WIGS members watching and here in person who make this show happen every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying, enjoy the rest of your today and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.